Hi, my name is Tyler, and here we're at JTech, and today we're going to go over the 8 automotive areas on a vehicle. Alright, the first thing we're going to go over is the engine compartment. You got the air filter right here, then you got the air duct that leads to the intake over here. You got where you put the oil in, you got the fan, radiator, the batteries over there, alternators down here, the overflow tank right here, wash fluid, the exhaust manifold, and the heater core and stuff will be back here falling through these hoses. You got your radiator hoses and everything, and your serpentine belt, which is this belt right here, and then all the pulleys and everything. The water pump will be down, I believe, down the bottom down here, and that's about it. Now we're gonna go to transmissions. This is an automatic transmission, which is run off of fluids. This is the input shaft with the gears and bands and everything inside here. This is the output shaft. And the fluid and everything and the pressure changes the gears automatically. And a torque converter will go on the outside, which is this thing right here. And then now there's a manual transmission. You still have the input shaft and everything, and the output shaft. And this is the big difference here is this is you change the gears yourself, and it's all mechanical, no fluids. And that's it. Alright, to finish off with the transmissions, the power that the motor creates goes through the transmission, and then it comes out into the drive shaft, and it goes to the back over here through the drive shaft. With the U-joints, it allows the power from the motor go through the transmission, through the drive shaft, and into the tires, allowing them to move. Alright, now we're going to do steering and suspension. This is your lower control arm. This is your sway bar link, and your sway bar is this bar right here. Your inner tie rod ends are right here. Outer tie rod, your upper control arm, your shocks, upper ball joint, lower ball joint. That's about it. The steering wheel turns one way, taking the rotary motion, turning it into linear motion, and allowing the wheels to turn. Alright, now we're going to talk about the braking system. This right here would be your brake rotor. This right here is your brake caliper, and on the inside is where you put your brake pads, which is what compresses against the brake rotor, stopping the vehicle. And on this vehicle, in the back of it, we have different brakes, which is drum brakes, and you have that right there. This goes on top of goes on the outside of this. These are your brake shoes, and this is a cylinder with pistons inside of it, and when you hit the brakes, pistons come out, expanding the brake shoes against the brake drum, stopping the vehicle. And you have your brake line right here for the parking brake, so when you engage the parking brake, you're engaging the back brakes. And that's it. Alright, now we're going to talk about the starting system. This is ignition, so you turn the ignition, allowing power to go from the battery all the way from this red cable to the starter. And you see the starter right there. When you start the motor, the ring gear pops out from the starter and engages with the flywheel, and puts enough power out to turn the flywheel, causing the motor to turn over. Now, the charging system is ran by the alternator, and how this works is it's run off the serpentine belt. This spins around, causing the rotor to spin inside of the stator, causing an electromagnetic current with powering enough amperage to charge the battery, and while the car is running, power the electrical system. Alright, now we're going to talk about the AC system. It's going to take low pressure refrigerant in the compressor, turn it into a high pressure refrigerant from here, this hose right here, and then it's going to go to the condenser as a high pressure gas, and then it's going to turn it to a liquid, and then it's going to go to the evaporator and transforms it to a low pressure liquid back to a low pressure gas for it to start all back over again. Alright, now we're going to talk about the cooling system on the vehicle. As the engine heats up to operating temperature, the heat from the hot coolant allows the thermostat to open up, and the water pump pumps the coolant into the radiator in front of the vehicle. The airflow through the radiator transfers the heat to the air, warming the air, reducing the coolant temperature. And the hot coolant also goes through to the heater core, and the airflow through the heater core heats up the air, and the air goes into the cabin, and that's how you get your warm air in the cabin. Alright, now we're going to talk about the 4-stroke engine. The 4 strokes of the engine is intake, compression, power, exhaust. And the intake valves open, exhaust valves are closed in this time. The fuel and the air is drawn into the cylinders, and then it goes to the compression. The compression is the intake valves are closed, the exhaust valves are both closed. The piston is going up, compressing the heat, the air and fuel mixture. And then the power stroke, the intake valve is closed, exhaust valve is closed, fuel is burning and expanding, gas pushes the piston down. And then the last stroke of the engine is the exhaust. The intake valve stays closed, exhaust valve opens up, allowing the exhaust from the compression to escape out your exhaust.